in today's episode, I want to touch base with those of you who feel like you are going it alone. And I constantly come up against this when I'm dealing with my coaching clients. People come to me and they say, I'm just so sick of being on my own and doing this on my own. And even if they are in businesses that perhaps they share with their partners, with a business partner, they have a team of people, when it comes down to it, they're the owner of the business, and that makes them feel like they are just absolutely out there on a ledge doing it themselves. If you can relate to this, then you are going to really enjoy this episode. And I felt like that myself in my business. I can tell you I have a really big team, but the amount of times where at the end of the day, I go home and I think to myself, just nobody gets it. Nobody understands that pressure of the buck stopping with me, that every decision has to be made by me. I go home with decision fatigue, thinking I don't want anyone to ask me another single question. And then, of course, I walk through the door and the kids say, "What's for dinner?" So the feeling, that feeling of just being absolutely spent because you feel like you're doing everything on your own. And that's a really common feeling in business. So first of all, I wanted to acknowledge that, yes, it's really common, that I hear it so often with my coaching clients. And they often come to me because they are feeling isolated, they are feeling alone, and they do want tools and tips on how to get everybody in their community and in their team more engaged with what they do in their business. But some entrepreneurs are just very much alone. They're alone. They don't have a team. They're alone in their business. They're just doing it themselves. They're wearing all of the hats. They're giving themselves employee of the week, week in, week out, every single week, because it's just them. And so whether you are leading a team, but you are feeling like, the weight of the world is on your shoulders, or whether you are running a one entrepreneur, a single entrepreneur business, then I really want you to know that there are several things that you can do to help you break through that feeling of aloneness. There are several things that you can do to give you a little bit more control, or give you a feeling of a little bit more of control over the things that you are doing in your business. And to also just let you know that you're not alone, really, because there are so many of us having that feeling as well. And so if that's you, and if you have felt like you're the only person on the universe that's feeling that way, then you're definitely not. And for me, as I said, there is a big team involved with the businesses that I run, and I'm really lucky to have that support and have those people around me. But at the end of the day, if the bills don't get paid, it's on me. If no customers come in the door, it's on me. If customers come in the door and they have a terrible experience, yes, it might be my team that's executing that, that bad run in the office, but the buck stops with me. It all comes back to me. And so I feel that too. Please don't think that because I'm in a position where I get to share my knowledge with others that I'm getting everything right. That's terrible. That's not the case at all. Not at all true. And so some of the things that help me when I'm in those moments of I'm overwhelmed, I can't do this anymore, nobody understands what I'm going through, is I like to go back to my business plan. I like to go back to my initial notes. I have a notebook where when I was first starting Port Macquarie Performing Arts, I was writing everything down in this notebook, and it was all about yes, there were some logistical things, I'm going to need this and I'm going to need that and I'm going to need mirrors and I'm going to, that kind of thing. But there was also, my big hopes, my big dreams, the things I wanted to share with the world, the things that I really wanted to be able to impact in my local community. And so much of my why kind of came out of those notes. And when I'm feeling like I've forgotten what my why is, then that's what I go back to. I go back to that initial business plan, that initial, that 3-page business plan that you have to put together when you go to the bank to get some money. I know I had to put that together, and I go back to that because that is full of naive Stacey's hopes and dreams and plans for the future. And I'm really lucky in the sense that all came true. And my bank manager, bless him, when he when we run into each other at networking events and things, he always remarks as to how bright-eyed and big dreaming he thought I was when I first came into his office with that business plan, but how he now sees it coming to fruition and how that's really rewarding for him, which is so lovely. So I go back to those notes. I go back to my why. I go back to, okay, what am I doing this for? What's the purpose of this? And how can I really get in touch with that if I've lost that a little bit? Because sometimes in the doing, in the, constant day to day and the, getting this done and getting that done and ticking things off your to-do list, you forget why, what is the purpose of all of this? And so it's really nice to go back to that and to touch on that. So start there. Then I really encourage you to start surrounding yourself with people who are in the same boat. So start surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals who are running their own business. Perhaps they're also running a family. These people are out there and they're closer than you might think. And if they're not closer, if you are isolated wherever you're listening to this, then get online, because there are several networks online that you can be part of. Lots, like tens of thousands of hundreds of millions of Facebook groups, if nothing else, that you can get in to. And we have a beautiful community here for the podcast of people that are listening. So reach out to us as well, because surrounding yourself by people who are having a shared experience, even though you are having your own experience in your own shop or in your own office, when you get together with other people, you will see that they are also having that shared experience. And so you can talk to each other about your challenges and about your wins. And that's why Thrive is such a great program, because it's for women entrepreneurs who haven't really invested in a whole lot of professional development before. And they just want not only the accountability that comes with a mastermind group, being able to set big goals and to tick them off and to really move the business forward, but also being able to be in those shared spaces with those other women, being able to say, I had a really crappy week this week and this went wrong and that went wrong, and being able to celebrate everyone's wins and being able to share experiences and say, oh yes, that happened to me too. I've been there. This is what I did. So surrounding yourself with people who understand what you're going through, who have perhaps been there before, and if nothing else, can say, oh, that really sucks. That really sucks. And then ask good questions. What are you going to do? What do you think you should do from here? What's the most important step that you take next? And that stuff is really, really important. So I encourage you to get into that zone and get into a community where you can be celebrated and be heard and hear what's going on with everyone else as well, because that's also really important. And then I guess the third part of this is to understand that there are ups and downs in business, and just like life, this is not forever. This is only for now. There's a great song in one of my favorite musicals, Avenue Q, and it's kind of the big finale number, and it's like, this is only for now. And whenever I'm having one of those moments, I think this is only for now. And it's good to remember that we take on this responsibility and this challenge of running our own business because we want to be able to have a shared experience and impact our community in a really unique way that it suits the gifts and talents that we have to give in this world. And that's tough. That's not an easy ask. That's not a walk in the park. And I guess sometimes when we're in the middle of it, we think, if this was meant to be, if this is my calling, it should be easier. No, that's not the way it works. It's tough because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. Often in life, the toughest things to do are the right things to do. It's tough to do the right thing. And so when you're having one of those moments, just know that business is full of challenges, but it's also full of really rewarding moments. And whilst you might be sitting in challenge right now, you're not too far away from the next rewarding moment. And it's really important to remember that, because sometimes we can get lost in the challenges, especially if, like when you're swimming at the beach, one wave hits you after the next wave, and you think, how am I going to find the surface? How am I going to get my head above water? You'll come back around and the world will right itself. And then you'll have a little, stretch of time where everything's going beautifully, and you will sit really comfortably in that moment and think, yes. And then before you know it, another wave will come, and that's okay, because that's what this is. So learn to expect the struggles, learn to expect the challenges, learn to expect that when we are brave and courageous and we step out of our comfort zone and we do things that other people aren't brave enough to do, and, aren't perhaps as courageous as us, then it's going to be tough and it's going to be hard, and it's also going to be okay. And at the end of the day, if what you are doing lights you up, if what you are doing has impact in your community, if what you are doing puts you in a position where you're a role model to others and an inspiration to others around you, whether that's your kids in your own house, whether that's your people that you serve, your customers that you serve in your community, then it makes it all worthwhile at the end of the day. So please know that even though you are feeling alone, you are not alone. And that if you can surround yourself with people who understand the game that you're playing and the purpose that you're serving, then you are going to find that those days where you feel like, is this all worth it, become, less frequent. And those times where it's a little bit smooth sailing and you go, oh, this is not too bad, become more frequent. So I want that for you. I want that frequency of smooth sailing and not crashing ocean. And of course, we are heading into Thrive season. Thrive kicks off on the 1st of April. So if you wanted to reach out to me in terms of Thrive, we haven't launched yet, but we will be doing that as we work our way through March. So please get in touch. You can send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at Simply Stacey Morgan, or of course you can reach out to me on the contact page of simplystacymorgan.com. Today's episode has been brought to you by my free webinar happening March the 7th, 100 customers in 100 days. That would put your mind at ease, wouldn't it? And you can come and join us for that free class. Just make sure you register. My link is in my bio on my Instagram, or you can do it at simplystacymorgan.com as well. If you haven't left us a rating or review for the podcast, we would love you to do that, please. 5 stars would be great. If you're listening to episode after episode, please click through and give us a rating or review. That would be really, really helpful. And of course, we appreciate you taking the time to put your earbuds in and walk around the block and listen to my voice, or to listen to me driving in the car, wherever you're at. I appreciate you taking the time, and you taking the time to invest in yourself, your own learning, and the growth of your business as well. Go you.